Yo, what is up, y'all? This is the last video I'm doing concerning the Tab S3. And at this point, what I feel is, I'm just I'm gonna get it an iPad probably. That's the conclusion I've drawn after thinking about it. For all those who know, I use my tablet to draw. I decided I wanted to buy a device that was portable, compact, and productive enough for me to at least do three things. Edit a little bit of video, draw, and then edit photos. Because I take photos, I do illustrations, and I edit videos every now and then. So I decided I needed something because I have a gaming laptop at the moment. I'm not lugging that to every photo shoot that I go to in order to just edit videos on the fly or edit photos on the fly. So my hope was that this tablet would have enough horsepower and battery life to at least be useful to some capacity. And unfortunately, the number of issues that I've had with the tablet leads me to believe that Samsung and Google has obviously no longer invested its time or resources into the Android tablet space anymore. It's obvious with the Pixel slate that they're now looking to do other things. And that leaves Samsung, which is the OEM that manufactured this tablet, with the task of making sure that the tablet has enough power or whatever just to move their experience along. The tablet is sorely underpowered. It's running last gen hardware for its year. So that means it's two SoCs behind. It's running a Snapdragon 820 with only 4 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of internal storage. This tablet cost me over $600, and I feel like an idiot for spending all that money. But I was under the impression that it would be a good productivity device. I watched videos. I didn't hear anything about any lag or any problems. And if you know me, I dislike when any OEM gets a pass when it comes to tablets. Unfortunately, I'm not going to video the tablet because you don't need to look at the hardware, and you wouldn't be able to see the screen very well either because of the harsh lighting conditions. So this tablet, let's start from the beginning, from the top to the bottom. I'm going to talk about everything that is wrong with it and then the things that are good about it. Or let's start with the good stuff. The good stuff first is you can hook up your peripherals through the USB-C that work. You can use an external keyboard, monitor, and mouse, and it can give you some good tools to aid in productivity. The S Pen works very well, and if you've paid attention to any of my videos, you know that the drawing on this is pretty good. It's not incredible by any stretch. This was a small doodle from the morning. I'm going to show you through the gallery some of the art I've done on this. Unfortunately, because of the RAM issues, you'll find that the tablet sometimes does not save the final state of the work you did previously. When you put the tablet down after working on it and you pick it up after some time, because it lacks the right amount of RAM, you pick it up and then you see certain things are not loaded into memory. When you use a graphic intensive program or software like Sketchbook, you need more RAM because you're going to use a lot of layers. Each layer is loaded into RAM. They're all it's layer upon layer of graphical work stacked up on top of each other. The more you use, the more RAM you take up. That's why you need a lot of good RAM to run something like Photoshop or Illustrator, because you keep stacking bouts of information on top of each other, and at the end of the day, you need enough RAM and you need enough processing power to make sure that you keep everything going. So you just need good amount of horsepower and read and write speeds. So these are a few of the works I've done on this tablet. I've got more on Instagram. So the drawing experience is A1. The pseudo computer experience is interesting. Battery life is not good. There's a serious battery drain issue. Today is actually a remarkably good day for my battery because I've been able to get at least an hour of screen on time with 76% so far. I ran some benchmarks today. You can see on Tutu. I ran in Tutu and Geekbench. And I've spent 5 hours with this thing off of the charger. It's going to reload Geekbench, which is unfortunate because it was just something that was loaded. That's sad. The Geekbench scores were pathetic to say the least. They were 1,000 and I think 1,800 or so, and then 3,000, which aligns with a lot of Geekbench scores I've seen online. This has a Snapdragon 820 with 4 gigs of RAM, making it roughly as powerful as a Galaxy S7. And the Galaxy S7 has higher benchmark scores than this tablet, which is running the same hardware. Antutu scores, let's see if Antutu will stay in memory. Thank goodness it stayed in memory. So as you can see where it stacks up, the Antutu scores are not quite impressive. I ran a stress test on this device, and you can see where you can see the CPU performance was actually not too horrible. There was not too much throttling, but you can see that the stress test, there's just this dip over here which is not that good. And then you could see certain other things, like the battery level was surprisingly better. I ran it alongside my Note. The Note 9 basically double the score as the tablet, which is disgraceful. Very disgraceful. Some people are going to say, well, it doesn't have the specs. Why it doesn't have 6 gigabytes of RAM for what it says and claims that it's going to do is ridiculous, and it should not be defended on the basis of fanboyism in any form or fashion. So I'm quite tired of people saying certain things like do this or do that to the tablet to get it to work. Now, if you're into specs and all that stuff and into rooting, that's great, that's cool. But a person shouldn't shell out over $500, $600 for a tablet or any device for that matter, and have to do workarounds just to get the device working. Like, I heard somebody's excuse for the Pixel having a bad microphone. saying that you should just buy an external mic. That is the dumbest thing in the world to say. Why should I spend over $700 on a new device? That's 700 USD, and in Canada it's I think around $1,000. Why spend that much money on a device that is catered to the public, to the basic user? Spend another amount of money for a microphone just to get it to work the way it's supposed to work. That is the dumbest thing in the world. It is dumb to make excuses for manufacturers. You don't owe them anything. They don't owe you anything except for good service. Because you pay money. You are paying money for these things. So Samsung touts its tablet as a productivity device. Let's Google what productivity means. Productivity. Can't reach Google at the moment. Productivity, the state or quantity, the state or quality of producing something, especially crops. The effectiveness or productive effort, especially in industry, as measured in terms of the rate of output per unit of input. In short, productivity within the context of this tablet is just doing more. Productivity is doing something more within the context of this tablet. Your phone can already do 90% of what the tablet can do, but because of the form factor, because of what they expect you to want to be able to do, they tell you that this can do more than your phone. Maybe not quite as much as your laptop or desktop device, but it's supposed to be comparable. It's supposed to be a medium, like at least in between your tablet and phone. I mean, in between your phone and your laptop. This is the case where the Tab S3 has less features than a flagship from, let's say it has less features than an S5, a Note 5. Because I want to compare similar experiences. The experience started to change around the S6 era. I had the Note 4, and I can say that this is roughly like a blown up Note 4 with a new coat of paint on it, with the new Galaxy experience. It is, and the lag on this is much more pronounced than it was on the Note 4. The lag is super pronounced. The build quality of the device is A1. The hardware, that's why I didn't want to really put it on camera or anything. I don't even usually do that, but I didn't feel like it was necessary to do it anyway. The build quality of the device is A1. There's nothing wrong with the build quality of this device at all. But the software is where the problem is. Now, when you go to download certain applications, you find that a lot of apps are not even optimized for the platform. So you can go to Antutu. If I uninstall it right now, which I'm not, I don't know if I need to do. Should I uninstall it? Well, if you go for like, let's see if CPU-Z is alright. This app may not be optimized for your device. You find that with a lot of apps on the Google Play Store, which is kind of strange given the fact that that these applications are just supposed to be upscaled versions of the normal phone platform. So I'm just wondering why that's the case, but I digress. there's no way to use Galaxy themes in the Galaxy App Store, which is basic. Instagram is there, but unfortunately, Instagram is just Instagram. It is not an optimized version that could be used just for your device, which is sad to say the least. Let's talk about the speed of the device. When you're scrolling through the device, as you can see that it's not really too choppy or anything. It's not really laggy until you start trying to go through your files, and then you can start to see how choppy and laggy it is. This is a native app. If I wish I could have my finger shown in here, but you could get the gist of it. I'm just scrolling slow. I'm not scrolling super slow, but you can see how choppy the animation speed is. It is very, very, very slow. Going to the images are not pixel. Like it's okay, but sometimes it can get super duper slow, especially when you aha, there you go. When you start scrolling real quickly, it's not as bad as it was before. After there was an update recently, I think that may have alleviated it, but the animation speed is ridiculously slow and choppy most of the time. At times you might be drawing and using maybe the paint bucket tool. It works right now, but sometimes when you use the paint bucket tool, sometimes it'll tell you that there's not enough RAM to complete this operation. There's not enough memory to complete this operation, which is a huge, huge bummer. The internal storage is only 32 gigabytes. The Note from last year had 64. People complained about that because the S9 Plus had 64. Really, that's really not enough, especially for something that's used for productivity. And there's no free cloud services like you find on Pixel devices, so that's basically really not enough storage when you think about it. And as for a person like me, I like to keep my files locally. I don't like cloud storage. I don't subscribe to that. I don't use streaming. I don't do any of that stuff. What I do is I like to keep everything local, whether it's my movies, my music, or anything. Have great app support, and it doesn't have good performance. The reason for the subpar performance seems to be because of the subpar hardware. There's no excuse for why Samsung should release a device in 2017 or 2018 or 2019 with hardware specs of the previous year's device and not even the most powerful variant of that year's device. So I I contemplate whether they're trying to really take the tablet space serious, especially when they charge a premium of around $600 $700. If you go to the Samsung store right now, right? You go to Samsung.ca right now. The loading time is so slow. If they had a newer SoC, the loading times would be a lot better. And when you browse and you start scrolling, you can see a lot of choppiness. So let's go to mobile tablets and let's look at the prices if we can get That's introducing. Let's see all. I was just on the desktop version. So that's $869.99. So basically $870. If you go for the 256 variant, you're paying basically $1,000. The Tab S2, which doesn't even have an update past Android 6.0, is going for $700. The Tab S3 is $800. And this variant of the Tab S2 is $550. This is ridiculous for the specs and for what it promises to do. The spec. I mean, people keep saying that the iPad is an overpriced device. The only saving grace of this device is the screen, the display. Because I can say with 100% certainty that this display is just incredible. When you watch any video or look at pictures on it, you will be blown away. It is mind-blowing how good the display is. A nice 2K resolution. It's good. The aspect ratio is crap, but the display is really good. The Tab S4 has a Snapdragon 835 with 4 gigabytes of RAM. That's less horsepower than the Note 8 and the S9 Plus, right? No, then the S8 Plus, if I'm not mistaken. That's less horsepower than the S8 Plus and the Note 8. A larger display though, that means it's going to display upscaled graphics, and it's going to display everything at an upscaled higher resolution. That's more information. It's really, really sad that Samsung has not like put any. You can tell like they really didn't put any effort into this. Like, hey, let's make a tablet. The iPad is coming out. Let's make something and just put it out there. This tablet could also do benefit seriously from an update and where they enable DeX, but they probably won't do it because the new tablet doesn't have a fingerprint scanner, and DeX is the top feature of that tablet. So why would they port over the top feature of the new tablet to the older one, which has a fingerprint scanner that works perfectly, that shouldn't have been removed from the new tablet, and basically make it better? You understand what I mean? And also, Microsoft apps on the new tablet don't work because it's the screen size of the new tablet is approaching Surface territory, and Microsoft won't allow you to use those apps for free. You can use these apps for free on this, which is good and all, but the thing is, given the performance in this app is okay though. Given the issues that this tablet has, just like in navigating the software, with the lag, with 2012 Samsung level lag, poor performance and poor graphic performance when it comes to games, so many issues, that this device has. It's a surprise that people have really not taken the time to take Samsung to the task concerning these devices. Even when you go to learn more, and I wanna see some reviews and show y'all some of the reviews, but this is not. You can see how choppy the animations are for yourself. This is not quality performance. I'm trying to look for the reviews. A lot of people in their reviews had the same thing to say that I did, and that's poor performance. Like this, it's too choppy. The animation speed, the frame rates are just like they can't hold up. The animations are super choppy. Um, and apps like Facebook use a ridiculous amount of resources. So Facebook tends to crash quite a bit. Sometimes even Instagram does. It's like also I just clicked Geekbench. Look how long that took to launch. That's ridiculous. The performance is horrible. Not enough people mentioned it because a lot of reviewers don't. A lot of reviewers are just trying to get the video out, and then they're not really using the thing and taking it to task. And a lot of people who would probably use it and take Samsung to task have not really even taken the time to actually review this device, and I do not blame them. The device is really not worth the money. I can't stress that enough. Do not buy this tablet. I've made a video about it before, and I'm making it again because I tried certain things to try and just get it to work like it should. A lot of people are gonna tell me stuff like stock Android, blah blah blah. Nah, bro. Stock Android would be a worse decision on this tablet than any skin would. Stock Android would not take advantage of this device nearly as much as this. The problem is with Samsung and their lackluster attitude, their lackadaisical attitude towards updating the software and making sure that the software works very well, cause it just doesn't. It's sad though. It's sad. I mean, pop-ups and all that, they work fine, but not when you start using pop-ups. I don't know why it crops in. It doesn't downscale the application to reasonably. So what you get is you start seeing like a lot of scaling issues with the pop-up, like just a lot of stuff that's just, it just feels kind of half baked. Like they threw it in there, and the funny thing is, it seems like these things work well on older devices. So it's like the software is just not. And I've used this when it had Android Nougat, and Nougat, even Nougat had better battery life than this. It's just like so many problems. Like too many. Last video I want to make about this. The next video I make, hopefully, I will either buy Surface Pro or iPad Pro, and I'll give this probably to my girlfriend or like my brother or something, because this is not worth the money. You should not buy this tablet. Don't buy it unless you're a person who just wants to watch maybe videos or something. But if you're thinking of using this as a productivity device, it's not. It's not a productivity device. It's not. The benchmark scores are remarkably close to the Surface Go, but the Surface Go seems to be able to handle certain things just better. I wanted they could work on making the software experience more optimized, but the problem is, think of I'm gonna leave you with this small analogy for a lot of people who just don't understand certain things. Now, when it comes to software and hardware, software is like, let's say hardware is like a bowl, okay, and software is milk and cereal. The bigger the bowl, that's the more resources. That's the more like specs, the more resources you've given hardware wise, the more the software can do. That means the more cereal and more milk you can pour in there without it spilling over. But when you pile a whole bunch of milk and cereal into a tiny bowl, what happens? So I'm just gonna leave it there and say that this device, I've had it for months. I've had other I've had other videos about it. I've spoken about it a lot, and I'll just say that this device is not worth the time. It's not worth the hassle. It's not worth the money. Buy an iPad if you want a tablet. And I'll leave it at that. Android tablets, for now, are just not worth the hassle. Unless you really need something that is Android, something that uses the Android ecosystem, and you don't like Chrome OS, then I'll just say that, like, if you need one of those, then go for it. But you are really getting into terrible territory, because this device cannot even fulfill basic promises that it's made. If you like this video, or you want to see more videos like this one, hit the thumbs up button. By Friday there will be a drawing tutorial video coming out that I'll do, and where I'll show you step by step how to start drawing on your phone. So